Hello, you horrifying meme beasts. Jim Sterling here, and this is Nioh. I love Nioh. I just want to say that for the record. I love Nioh. I gave it a review on the jimquisition.com. You can go read that if you want. Gave it a 10 out of 10. Spoiler warning right now. First 10 out of 10 I've given in quite a while. I think I gave like 1 last year. Because I do think they should be rare special occasions. And Nioh is a rare special occasion. I adore it. And I realise I'm not really saying much critical right now. Just going, I like it. Oh god, this bit. Hold on. Fucking bat. The bats always get me, even when I know they're coming. The bats always get me. Happens a lot. A lot of asshole bats. Anyway, this is probably a little further in the game than you will have seen from demos and whatnot. It's in a cave. I'm sorry. Another issue I'm dealing with right now is yesterday I got into some situations that I'm now reaping the rewards for, and by rewards I mean punishments. I'm a little bit delicate this morning, and I realise I've got to get this Nioh stuff done. So I've got to try and sound human. But anyway, I'm fighting a yokai. Is that... Do you say yokai? Yokai? I never paid attention to those Yokai Watch commercials. Because I couldn't stand hearing them, because they were so fucking annoying. The fucking voices. So I never heard how it was pronounced. I've been calling them yokai. Actually, annoyingly, the game has a bestiary. That's not the annoying bit. It has a bestiary, and it actually gives you pronunciation guides to all of the creatures and everything. Because everything, you know, it's all Japanese words and terms. Japanese folklore, essentially. A lot of the monsters and everything. And the bestiary gives you a nice pronunciation guide, so you know how to say things. And I forgot to check it for yokai, the word I'm most confused about. The one I'm most concerned about, you know. Don't mind me just dealing with. I wasn't really paying much attention at this point to armor. I was just whacking on the best armor value, which, you know, it's a way of doing it. But once you get into the blacksmith stuff, I don't have any footage of that because it's not particularly entertaining viewing. But once you get into the blacksmith stuff and start learning about, you know, reforging equipment to just squeeze the best stuff out of it, and start looking for like rare passive bonuses and trying to re-roll armors and weapons stats, that Revenant would not have died had I not poisoned it. As you can see, I'm using the Kurisagugu, which is a weapon that I also don't know how to say, so I've just been calling it things like, you know, Kashagugu and things like that. Hopefully to highlight my own ignorance. I can't even say ignorance today. Anyway, hopefully saying things like Kashagugu highlights my own ignorance and doesn't come off as racist, which I would hate. I mean no disrespect, I'm trying to make light of my own cultural ignorance, as 'twere. But anyway, I got a little bit of co-op here to show off. That's the main thrust of today's video. Because I've got like a ton of Nioh footage, and looking through it this morning, with my brain the way it is, I was like, I don't know which of this stuff was good, and why I've captured any of it. But anyway, let's talk a bit more about the game that we're seeing. So, Revenants, typically corpses of players that you can summon. And they're all kitted out like players are, so they can be pretty challenging. But I love fighting them, really like fighting them. It's a good twist on that sort of indirect online interaction that Dark Souls came up with. This is a fun little thing. There are sometimes, if you find little walls with eyes, they're hiding secret passages. This was the first time I ever found one while I was waiting for my co-op partner to turn up, because they spawned, but they were fuck knows where at that point. So I was just entertaining myself with the Revenant and everything. I found a really cheap way of dealing with this one. I do like ranged combat in this. It's way more... It's hard not to compare this game to Dark Souls. I shouldn't have shot the wall there. It's hard not to compare this to Dark Souls. My review does it a lot. Has to name drop it. But to bring it up here, ranged combat works so much better here. You have 2 ranged weapons equipped at any time, along with 2 melee weapons. and you can, all you got to do is press the left trigger on the PS4. Oh, by the way, PS4 exclusive, this one. Sony published it. Sorry I didn't say that sooner. I know I make jokes about people getting salty when I don't bring that up, but it is a fair point when brought up respectfully, you know? It is a fair point. I should put it out more often. But anyway, Hot Spring. That was a Hot Spring. I love those because it's got little Kodama in it, and they're using their little bowl-shaped hats to float about in the water. It's so good. Kodama, by the way, is they're the new thing I've decided to be obsessed by. They're little green people, little tree spirits from, again, Japanese folklore. A little bit of water there. They're tree spirits that live at the shrines, which is this game's version of, Dark Souls bonfires. And they are hiding all about the different levels, and you pick them up, you find them, and you send them to that mission's shrine. And the more Kodama you find, the more effective their passive bonuses will be. You can select a Kodama blessing, and these different Kodama all have different hats, and they belong to different classes. For instance, if you use the healer Kodama, then more enemies will drop more elixirs, which are your healing items. And there's ones like, ups the percentage of weapons dropping and stuff like that. So they're passive bonuses that increase the more of a certain type of Kodama you find. And I love them. They're fucking adorable. Sometimes I will just, fiddle around with the camera for ages at a Kodama shrine, trying to find them all and look at their antics and listen to their fun little trumpet noises. Because I'm kind of obsessed with them right now, and I want Sony to give me Kodama-themed things to buy, because I'm a horrible consumerist worm, as I've said many times before. I think that would be nice. And not plushes, I'm not a fan of plushes so much. I've got no use for them myself. I mean, make them if you want. Other people have uses for them, I wouldn't deny that. But it's not for me. So, sort that shit out. Make little statues. Do something on your PlayStation Gear store. You're really good with that, your PlayStation Gear store. Seriously, Sony, this is going to sound like sponsored content now. It fucking isn't. I just genuinely like the weird statues and shit they put on the Gear store. I bought their Journey statue once that got broke. I need to replace it. I guess I should talk about the character build a little bit. As you can see, I'm almost exclusively using the origami killer weapon, which means high dex, which also means ninja skills, because dex governs ninja stuff, which I've been mostly using for poison. I like dealing poison damage, and this is one of those games that doesn't treat those kinds of status ailments as, weak source piss, like a lot of Final Fantasies, like a lot of RPGs do. You can poison anything. Obviously, some things are going to be resistant to it, so you're just going to have to keep wailing on them until you can do it. But it's all doable. I've poisoned bosses and whatnot before, and the damage it can do, if you're leveling up right, it's not insignificant. I'm going to talk over this cutscene. I know some people don't like that. Apologise for that. I've put subtitles on for your benefit. During the review process, I kept subtitles on just in case I had cutscenes that were going to go. Spoilers, of course. These are no major spoilers. This boss fight isn't a particularly... this is the first boss fight that really has some proper story built into it, outside of the very first boss you fight. So it's just a bit of a meet-up with the villain of the piece, the guy that you've chased to Japan. All of these guys, all named for, actual historical figures. If you are a big Dynasty Warriors, not Dynasty Warriors, but, that's it, the Warriors fan like me, and you've played Samurai Warriors, a lot of names come up that are familiar. In fact, the whole thing is sort of late Sengoku period, which, if you end up playing a lot of Tecmo Koei games, you end up learning a fair bit about. So, the whole Battle of Sekigahara that sort of this is preceding, Tokugawa, and all of that sort of stuff. This is just after Hideyoshi's fall. I had a book once called Tyrants and Despots, I'm not saying that to make a pointed political statement. I just had one once when I was a lot younger, when I was a teenager, and there was a whole bit about Hideyoshi in it. And at that point, I only knew Hideyoshi from the Samurai Warriors games, the funny little monkey character who, you know, he's called referred to as a monkey in it, and he dances about. And then I read that book, and it turned out he made a mound of noses. He had all of his enemies, right, had their noses all chopped off and made a mound of noses. I mean, who needs a mound of noses? Apparently he does. Anyway, fighting this boss with my co-op partner, because I wanted to see what co-op was like. I could have done this one on my own. I just want to see what co-op was like. It was looking all gold. Looks like a Sombro, really, but it's not. That's just the automatic colour when you co-op. Because I've done co-op as the, I guess the co-op-y? Or would it be co-op-er? Would it be co-op-y? Co-op-y. I mean, none of the words I'm saying right now are real. I'm making them up. But, you know, I've joined other people's games. It's a lot of fun. What I love about this game is that even though it doesn't have like the big interconnected open world of a Dark Souls game, the amount of content and the amount of stuff you can do, and the way in which you can do it, like, you go into a mission and that's it, like, you're in there, and then between missions you've got so many options for joining games and taking on sub-missions and twilight missions, and just, I've spent as much time in the game possibly at the blacksmith as I have actually in-game, just tinkering with armour. And I love it. I love it. I love playing with the stats of things. I love the combat. I love the Kodama. Yeah, it's a great game. It truly is. It's better than great. It is of sterling quality. Stamina system, like, I love, like, you know me, I get very testy with my stamina systems. A lot of them annoy me. But this one, I mean, I've always been okay with Dark Souls because it's about resource management. But, oh, there we go. There's the finisher. There's the juicy stuff. So I love that as well. Like, bosses and everything, like, all subject to the same rules as you. They've got stamina. Well, it's called ki here. And you do that ki pulse to regain stamina, which is awesome. And the video's fading out. Shit, I've got to go. Bye. God, I should have left myself more footage, but I didn't. Thanks, Kodama. It's not really as funny as it would have been last year. Oh my god, look at that little dangling one!